Is it working? It's super flat today and I look really bad. Hi, hello. My name is Serena. Based on the title, I'm gonna be talking about the schools and colleges that I have applied to and were either accepted, waitlisted, or rejected. And most of the schools I applied to are art schools, so this is gonna be kind of more related to that. So basically, other than just like the schools that I've been accepted to and stuff like that, I'm gonna be talking about the portfolio that I used to apply for, as well as some things that I wish I knew, some things that to keep in mind and things like that. I'm probably gonna split this up to 3 different sections. One is the school itself and the application process. Second is my portfolio, and third will be advice and things I wish I knew, stuff like that. So yeah, let's go. So I applied to 6 art schools. They're all in the United States, so I didn't apply to international schools. I kind of wish I did, but I ended up not doing it, so I don't know. But I applied to 6 schools and I got accepted to 5, and I was waitlisted to 1. So I got accepted into ArtCenter, Pratt MVP, Otis, SAIC, and SCAD. So I got accepted to all 5 with scholarships, but I got waitlisted to RISD, which is, I think waitlist is okay, even though it's basically a soft rejection, but I think I'm happy with my choices. Currently, I'm still at the point where I'm choosing, so that's why it's really tough. And so I guess I can talk about like academic wise and just kind of like the scores and extracurriculars that I have done in high school. I would say I'm not a good student, but I wasn't the best academically. My decision to pursue art as like a career in a field was kind of later on. I think it was during the summer of sophomore year. And then I think I started my portfolio around summer of junior year, so everything was really rushed. It was also something that affected my belief that I was gonna get it. I felt a little bit more unprepared compared to like everyone else, obviously, but y'all pushed me. Okay, so moving on to the next section, I'm going to be talking about my portfolio and the pieces that I included. Okay, so a little background in my portfolio. I started this really late. I added around 2 to 3 pieces from past artworks in my like freshman or underclassman year, but most of these I did this year, my beginning of senior year and summer of junior year. For different art schools, I did switch a few pieces in and out. So there were like a couple pieces that I used for this school, but I didn't use for another school. But mostly they're all around about the same things. So most schools, they require around 10 to 20 pieces, mostly around the higher, so 15 to 20. But I think I included like 17 or something, I'm not really sure. I have really bad memory. I didn't really have a lot of guidance to create my portfolio. So most of these stuff were just created or kind of like created by myself. I didn't have a teacher to be like, oh, this is what you should change. This is what you can maybe add in your portfolio that you're missing. I kind of wish I did talk to my art teacher, private art teacher, more about this. Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. Okay, so this is my first piece. It is titled Isolation. I did this, I think, summer of senior year. So before senior year started, 2020. That's when I made this. The medium is acrylic and molded paste on glass, and it is 17 by 17 inches. I'm going to summarize my written response, or like the caption or description underneath. I just said that with unprecedented times everyone is going through this year, we all somehow feel trapped in a way, whether it is being literally trapped in our house or how we just feel so isolated from others. So this is basically an experimental piece for myself to try different mediums, as well as using symbolism. So my second piece is titled Lost Connections 1. So this is kind of like a two-part piece. This is the first one. I also did this summer of 2020, January. So I had around 6 months to create my entire portfolio. So this one is a mixed media on cardboard with ink, charcoal, and string. It is 15 by 12 inches. And basically I wanted to portray the feeling of losing connection between a loved one. My friend joke about how we're like practically soulmates in a way, and basically she's my internet friend, and we kind of feel really connected as if we are each other's best friends, even though we're obviously physically apart in a way. So this is kind of the feeling that, or the kind of few years that we kind of just like drifted apart, but then once we connected back, our friendship is as strong as ever. And this is the second piece. It's titled Lost Connections 2. Pretty self-explanatory. But this is also mixed media, but with cardboard, acrylic, and paper. So this is also created in the beginning of senior year. And I said that as a part 2, I continue to explore the values of friendship and connections between my friends while experimenting with medium and concept. I focused on the idea of how language and culture sets apart people in a way where we feel rather disconnected. Okay, so my third piece is titled Life Goes On. It was inspired by a BTS song, in case y'all haven't known. I think I did this piece before they released the song, but I decided to change the title or add a title later on. I did this summer before senior year. And this is watercolor on watercolor paper. It is 18 by 21 inches, but I think I cropped it, so yeah. I said that as COVID-19 has definitely affected us in many different ways, I want to create a piece from a student's point of view, struggling with the stress and weight from different outside activities, as well as just kind of like the things we have to face today. This piece is actually kind of like a photo of my room. I took a kind of like a bird's eye view of my room and like my desk, and so I painted that. So yeah, I think most of these pieces that I created is definitely inspired or related to current events. Some are not, but yeah. So my fourth piece is titled Subway Dreams. I think I did this summer before senior year too. This was one of my SI pieces. This is red ink on watercolor paper, and it is 9.5 times 15 inches. So this is inspired by a dream where I want to create a surrealistic scene, which there happened to be fish or koi fish in a subway, and I was in it, and it was really interesting dream, but I still remember it clearly. And I want to explore new style, which I think in my portfolio is kind of like my main goal, is to explore the different variety of mediums that I haven't tried before, and as well as including like a creative and imaginative aspect into my pieces. So my fifth piece is just a PDF file of a few sketchbook pages that I collaged all together. So it's just like a collage, and most of them were during summer before senior year, but I did have some that I did before as well. And the mediums of all these are really different. There's pen, watercolor, gouache, acrylic, marker, I think a few other stuff too, but yeah. Most of these pages were 5.5 times 8.5 inches, some were 9 by 12. So my sixth piece, or like photo, is another collage of my figure drawings, because I think that figure drawings is definitely something that collegers are expecting to look at. Something to show that you know kind of like a drawing. You have a foundation that they know that they don't have to teach you. You do take a lot of figure drawing classes foundation year or freshman year, but it's something that you should have kind of like a base knowledge on. The year I put is actually 2019 to 2021 because some of them I did in like live drawing classes, while some I did from YouTube because, you know, I can't really go outside anymore right now. The mediums are charcoal, crayon, gouache, watercolor, and pen. These vary in sizes. This is a collage of a few figure drawings from poses in increments of, I think, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and 1 hour. So the next piece that I did is, I think this is my 7th piece, I think my 7th piece, is titled Paralyzed. I did this 2021, so I think it was after my second application was due was when I did this. And this is charcoal paper and the size is 42 by 24 inches. I said that this is influenced by my own emotions and thoughts while experimenting with, I'm assuming I talked about medium or style. This is kind of referencing to my predominant sleep paralysis, so I have that. It's really scary. So I wanted to capture the feeling and emotions that I go through, about the fear of that and the fear of the unknown. So there's like hidden faces behind the girl, like on top of her bed. And then she's also trapped down in chains and straps. This is a piece that I would like to call unfinished, but I didn't include that in my description. But there's a lot of empty space that I could definitely add more to, but I didn't. So yeah, that's my fault. Never talked this much in my life. I ate kimchi ramen today and it was so good. That shit was busted. I haven't eaten noodles in a while because I'm trying to go on a diet so that I can glow up before college, but that's not happening as well. Okay, so I don't remember what piece number I'm on, but the next piece that I have is titled Girl Under the Umbrella. This is actually one of the first pieces that I use that is from my sophomore year, but this is in 2018. This is oil paint on canvas and it's 24 by 18. There's not much to say, but this is a still life painting of my friend, focusing on elements of culture and rendering. That's what I just put. But this is my first oil painting. So it was a really new medium and thing to me, so I enjoyed it though. So my next piece is titled Indebted. But I did this in 2019, so this is the second piece that I did before summer of senior year. This is in 2019. I started this in December. Hi, Appa. 뭐 이거 바꿨냐? My Papa came. I did this December 2019, but this was one of the pieces that I procrastinated on a lot. This is oil painting on canvas and it is 18 by 24. And I said that within a time limit of 6 hours, I can do this in one sitting. I separated it into increments of like 5 minutes to finish this piece in a span of 2 years. But this is just a still life. I talked about how I wanted to include significant and meaningful objects, not just a still life, but I wanted to include more unique objects that all tell a story in a way. So my next piece it's titled Adventures. So this is actually part of my junior year portfolio for AP Art. I basically put 2 illustrations together into one PDF file so that, because I thought that it kind of matched together, the color palette, the story, the illustration, the style, it matched together really well, so I decided to do that. And it's digital art, and I basically depicted a girl, and basically it's the same girl going on different adventures with symbolic cultural kind of elements. My second to last piece is titled Don't Look Back. I did this summer before, no, I did this I think around October of 2020, so like a few months ago. This is also digital art. And I said that I want to create an illustration painterly piece of a little girl going on an adventure, showing the contrast between the innocence and the evil. I said that we always only show the beauty and the good in life at an early age until we learn to grow and learn about what the dark is. And so my last piece is titled Stand Up, and I did this December of 2020. It's a wire sculpture, and I didn't know how to measure it, but it's like 13 by 26 by 5, because it's like a 3D piece. So I said that I was inspired by the current events that are going around this year. I wanted to create a sculpture to show that we should all stand up for each other, not just to support a rising movement, but also as decent human beings. Okay, so that concludes my portfolio. Basically, I included those. I also included a few essays. Prior to RISD required a Common App personal essay, and then the other schools, it wasn't required. It was just like if you want to include it, you can. So I included it anyways. So for this section, I'm going to be basically talking about some of the stuff that I wish I knew, and if there's any advice that I can give. Okay. The first thing I would say to definitely go to National Portfolio Day. It doesn't have to be full thought out. It can just be process of your portfolio or a piece or a few other pieces that you think that you can include or things that you want more critique on. The school that stood out to me the most was Pratt and SAIC. I think that they gave the most information, the most well thought out critiques that most of the schools didn't really give. Just because I knew, I knew that my portfolio wasn't strong. I knew that it was really bad. It really made me kind of see what kind of school that they are and how they treat their students. Something that I had kind of difficulty in asking people or just knowing is, what do you want to include in your portfolio? So I sectioned it off into kind of like the pieces that I experimented with first, I think, and my most recent and my most proud ones in the top and end, kind of like a sandwich. Beginning and end, my strongest pieces are the pieces that I liked, and then inside I went from sketches and figure drawings, and then I went to painting, I think, and oil painting and figures and still lifes and studies, and then I went to my digital art, and then I ended up with my wire sculpture, I think. I'll include a picture. I would say experiment, unique, be you is the most important thing, and be proud of the art that you create. Aside from the portfolio, I had a lot of questions regarding scholarships, grants, and FAFSA. Some schools you do apply for scholarships and grants, but for art schools, they give you the scholarships and grants based on your portfolio and your academic. FAFSA is basically the federal student aid kind of website that you fill starting October 1st, I think, till like mid-March. And they give you kind of like money basically. But it was my first time, it was my family's first time, so we knew nothing. I did have all this stuff and documents prepared, so I would say to check the website. But they give you money for that if you really do need financial aid help. It's student loans, and basically it's divided into federal subsidized loans and federal unsubsidized. So federal subsidized is when both you have to pay back in the future, but for subsidized, it's not that there's no interest, it's the government that pays the interest. So they help you with that, but you still have to pay back anyways. But for unsubsidized, those you have to pay back as soon as possible, maybe. But yeah, work study is basically you work maybe part-time or something while you're in school. So they also give you money for doing that. I think another question that I had was, what will I be doing, or how can I connect to the real world after or during college? I think that was something. Hi! What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, job opportunities. I didn't experience college yet, but I noticed because I reached out to a lot of people. And that's something else that I would say, is to reach out to current students or alumni from the schools that you're interested in. I reached out to around 4 to 5 people in different majors and in different years from each school, so that I knew a little bit more, not just from the admissions officers, who are obviously going to be biased about their school, but from people who actually experience the school, experience the classes and teachers and the student life. So the things that I would ask about is what made you choose this school from other schools? You want to know about if it's the major that was more better, if it was the environment that they liked more, if it was kind of like the money situation, it was closer to his home, or it was giving the most scholarships and stuff like that. Second, I would ask about the location. Like I mentioned, the location is really important because you're going to spend 4 years, if not 4 years more maybe, but you're going to spend a good chunk of time in that school. If the people there are easy to talk to, things like that. You want to know about the location, and you want to know if the student life as well. You need to know if everyone's friendly and it's really inclusive, and that it's not, and everyone just works well together and stuff like that. I think I would ask about the homework load. Obviously, if you're passionate about what you're doing, I think that our school is definitely a place for you. I would ask about dorming. Dorming is something really important, I would say, especially just for first year. I think dorming is ideal for first year because it's more accessible to school. It's closer to school, but then it's also easier to connect to people and make friends, just because you're moving to a complete new place that has everyone's strangers. But one of the more important questions I would ask is if they have a lot of opportunities to internships and job opportunities. I think that's what is most important to me, and that's really important because I do know that most schools do have a really strong connection to outside companies. I don't know if I haven't mentioned yet, but I'm going to be majoring in illustration or communications design. And I think the last advice that I would give is push through this time. I think college jobs is definitely one of the most stressful and more pivotal moments in someone's life, because it's definitely one of the most important times because it decides who you're going to connect with, first of all, the people that you're going to meet in college, and just your life and how you change and grow as a person. I mean, I think for me, what I needed to know is that you will be able to push through this. I didn't have guidance for my portfolio. I didn't have help with my essays. Coming from a first-gen immigrant, I had to write it by myself. I did have my cousin help me a little at the end, but that was for my later applications. So I would say to push through this, but I learned that it is possible and you will get through this. Last thing I would say is to apply to the schools that you feel like you want to be included in. I would say to not feel pressured to apply to every single art school that all the top schools that all the art majors want to go to. I would say to apply to the ones that you want to get into and you can see yourself kind of thriving at. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. Basically, to summarize, this is something that I've been waiting to do, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do one of these videos that show my portfolio and stuff. And so I finally did it, even though I procrastinated, but I finally did it, and it is currently almost April. No, it is April 1st right now, so a happy April Fool's. It's also 4:44 right now. I procrastinated on this, just like how I procrastinated my portfolio. Good luck to those who are applying next year. I hope this was somewhat helpful in a way. But yeah, hopefully this